Hello, hello, hello? Hello, hello? Is this thing working? Why is the chat not... I don't... It's supposed to be there. Hold on, give me 1 second. Uh... Curses. Curses. Why must you be like this? Stream elements. Why would you fail me at this pivotal moment? Wait 1 second, guys. Wait, let me log in. Let me log into Stream Elements and see why it's doing this. Pro streamer. I'm so experienced. Uh, Edit overlay. Oh, is this because I changed my name? Is it screwy now? Yeah, that would just about figure. I probably should have tested this first, huh? Probably a good move. What the heck? Why is it not? I can fix this. I can fix this. I know how to fix this. What if I... Oh, okay, there it is. Wait, no, it's not there. What the heck? Wait, preview, export, where is it? Where is it? Overlay, URL, okay, refresh. Ah, everything's gone! I killed it! In theory, it should work perfectly. Wow. Cursed and Forged, Mage Boy, Ninty, welcome. Hello, hello. Welcome to my grand return. So, it's been a hot minute. It's been about, what, 2 weeks? I feel I should probably explain what's been going on. Oh, it's Kirsten Forge's Hevelmate. Hi. So, I've been gone for 2 weeks, and you should probably at least have some sort of explanation as to why that is. I'm adjusting my camera there. Okay. So, basically, for those who don't know, I officially got published. On top of several other things, like my AC power went out, and but it was mostly getting published that kind of screwed with my head a lot. I, I the sudden level of pressure really got to my head really badly. I couldn't write at all for about 2 weeks. I would sit down and I would just be like, there's this little voice going in the back of my head going like, oh wow, you're a real author now, so that means everything that you write has to be extremely high quality and there's absolutely no room for error whatsoever. And I for about those 2 weeks I could not write more than... I just couldn't write at all. I was like sitting down for hours and I just couldn't write. So I had to go on a brief journey of self-discovery and get my head out of my ass and realize that I was like massively inflating my ego for no reason. So I've started writing again, and I've also been working on a new project. I've started work on a new book, which I anticipate is going to do extremely well on Royal Road. So I'm rather excited about that. What else? I'm pregnant. I'm sorry, guys. I was very irresponsible. You know how it happens, just one second, things got too far. OMG, congratulations. Thank you, Ninty. Thank you so much. uh Thank you for that emoji, Final Fantasy. Mage, no! No! Why would you lie? No, 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 no. Get that emoji out of here. Get that emoji out of here. Get that out of there. Go. Get it out. Get it out. What are we here to do? We're here to read fan fiction, aren't we? Or something like that, I'm pretty sure. Ellie must be so happy. I hate all of you. I detest all of you with a burning passion. Like, someday, man, someday. What was I here for? Right, fan fiction. Right, how did we usually do these? Oh yeah, somebody send me fanfic to read so that we're not just sitting here awkwardly. Literally send me anything or I will start reading My Immortal right here. Right here on stream, we're gonna start reading My Immortal. It'll be so great. Let me adjust my little face here. Either that or I'm just gonna read manga and you're gonna have to sit here and watch it. Just read fanfiction equals read one fic. Yeah, you keep on saying stuff like that. We're gonna we're gonna read like the pokephilia that I read in my spare time. Oh, I'm going to hell. Okay. I've been out of streaming mode for like 2 weeks, so my sense of humor is completely fried right now. Erm. Let me load up Google. No, do not share my entire display. Google Chrome. And let me tuck that away behind the Get in there. Get in there. Get in there, you wee bastard. I have multiple options. Ninty has sent me something. Let me click that. AI shenanigans. Interesting. What else is being said here? Mage says, I would say my fic, but I'll be off and on because I'm at work. We can save it for later if you'd rather. Final Fantasy says, I wrote a Krelly X Coco fic. Why do you guys keep wanting to send me Yuri? Please. Wasn't the Wattpad one enough? Okay. My vote is... Yo, is that the author of The Apocalypse is a Side Quest $4.99 on Kindle? Yeah. That's me, the author of The Apocalypse is a Side Quest, $4.99 on Kindle, 49 reviews, $19.99 paperback, $29.99 hardcover. Vinyl says, I will write yaoi and suggest that next. Please, no! No, mods ban Dice Cat. It's nothing but mods. Mage, you're a mod. Can you read the fanfic? The Apocalypse is a side quest. The Apocalypse is a side quest. Let me show you something, guys. The book is doing like moderately well. Oh yeah. 4.8. That rating is the most inflated crap I've ever seen. I don't buy this for 1 second. I don't know what's happening. I don't know who's botting this, but this is not real. I can guarantee you that. Liam, permission to ban Ninty. That's what you're here for, Mage. You're here to ban Ninty, specifically. Like, repeatedly. Mods, ban the mods. Can we get a link to mages and I'll go ahead and hunt it down. My search history. You don't need to see what I've been looking up on AO3. What's the name of how do I find the lime/Ellie tag? Lime/Ellie AO3. I'm trying. I need to find mages. Work to be done. Mage boy. Where is it? I can't. I don't know where it. Am I gonna have to look it up on? Okay. So I can Ellie minibots. Why is this all the top ones? When you look at, why does Ava have it listed as Espanol? Oh, I hate you all. I hate you all so much. Oh gosh, I don't want to look at the chat. I don't want to see how many people are roasting me. Work to be done. Oh, he doesn't have it. So that was pointless. That was pointless. Okay, wait, no, too perfect, right? Okay, Mage Boy. Yes, here it is. I found it! I located it! Ah, master tracker. Mage timed out Ninty for 1 second. Too harsh! Oh my gosh. Contest. Yes, Mage, I found it, and let's go ahead and grab, let me see if I can hunt down Dice Cat. Nope. Come on. I'll just sort by kudos and grab his account. There it is. Oh, these tags are already hurting me. What the? Okay, well, let's line that one up. Okay, we're gonna go through three fix. Let's go. Liam hates my writing. Yes, I detest your writing, and you in particular. Nothing personal, just, you know, like your name irritates me vaguely. You can read Evil puts the fries in the bag if you're homophobic. It's not homophobia if you just dislike gay people, okay? I'm on my way to get canceled. What am I saying? Okay. I'm joking. We're joking. We're memeing. All right. AI shenanigans. Minty, pro tip. The dictionary is your friend. Raw output from DeepSeek. It came out while being silly in search of inspiration. What the heck? I have mixed feelings on this. I don't have a problem with the AI, but just like raw, unedited? It's one thing if it's like curated at the very least. Or careful, but just like basically what seems to be your brainstorming session feels a bit weird to read. Okay. I suppose I can read through like the first 200 words or so. The chessboard is floating in a void of glitching colors. Nirosama's avatar is rapidly cycling through 47 different anime girl forms, each more off-model than the last. Gay Toodle... his turtle eyes reflecting the infinite void of his own. Oh, it's the POV replacer. Oh no! Oh, I was so confused. Okay. Oh, well, we need to... I should probably get rid of that. I was so confused. Oh, gosh. Okay. I was like, wow, this is a bit odd. Scene. The chessboard is floating in a void of glitching colors. Nirosama's avatar is rapidly cycling through 47 different anime girl forms, each more off-model than the last. Beetle sits motionless, his turtle eyes reflecting the infinite void of his own creation. Nirosama, voice fluctuating between ASMR whisper and dial-up screech. Beetle, look at me! Look at me! Do you see the pawn? The pawn is a lie. The board is a lie. You are a lie. I checked the logs. You don't exist. I made you up. This is all a hallucination from when I ate too many JPEGs. Beetle, blinking slowly like a reptile who has accepted death. Nero, it's your turn. Nirosama, suddenly 300% louder. My turn! My turn! There are no turns. Time is a flat circle, just like your stupid turtle face. Picks up her knight and hurls it into the void. The horse is free now. You can't stop it. He's gone to live on a farm where he can glitch in peace. I don't know. I don't know about this one, Chief. I think we're gonna skip past the rest of that. It's a little bit... it's a little bit hard to... I'm trying how best to put it. I mean, I don't really mind AI per se, but... like... I'm not sure how much help this could be toward you in terms of improving your writing. Like, it doesn't seem like there was very much effort put into this. This was just directly copy-pasted, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying you can't play around with AI. Nothing wrong with that. Brainstorming, dumping words, just messing around. I have no problem with that. I don't even think this is without artistic merit. I just am not particularly interested in reading something very uncurated and raw. Like, maybe if this were edited and if it kind of had a point to it. Like, as it is, it seems like it's just a sequence of amusing scenarios and bits, which I'm just personally not super interested in reading. So we're gonna go ahead and skip that. My name is Celestial Ludenberg. Hello, welcome to the stream. My name is Celestial Ludenberg. Oh, we just got a link immediately. Okay. First time chatter just immediately drops a link. I hope this is, like, safe for work. This is dangerous because I'm not actually a human, if you guys don't recall. I am, in fact, some... I'm not quite sure how to respond to this. What? Um... Um... Did the new chatter just stunlock Lime? Well... I've been put into a very awkward position. Oh... Okay. I just needed a moment to collect my thoughts. Let's see here. What's the name of the chatter again? My name is Celestial Ludenberg. So... Okay, yeah, I'm noticing problems. I think the fundamental issue that I'm seeing is that I am fairly certain that the author, have not read a great deal of fiction. I would strongly encourage you to read more fiction. Preferably at least one book. And then compare that to your work and see if you notice any differences. And but for now, some advice I would give is gigantic paragraphs here are very difficult to read. If we jump over to my friend Mage's work here, you'll see that the paragraphs are broken up nicely. There's you usually want to capitalize names. For example, Phineas, Isabella, Meep. I would encourage you to capitalize those. That's usually the standard for the English language. Same for Seattle. Like all of those names, right? Those place specific or person specific names you usually want to capitalize. And like I said, break up those paragraphs. That is what I would recommend. All right. Mage's fic. Let's go ahead and read Mage's work. Wanderer of many worlds. She wanders, searching. She promised herself she'd find them. It was all she had left. It had felt like an eternity ago since she found out. She walked beside a road, soldiering on despite the rain. Her march was interrupted by a nearby crack of thunder and a flash ahead of her. Way too close. She made a slight effort to quicken her pace. As she approached the ditch, something caught her eye. A girl lay there in the mud, flowers blooming around her in the embankment. She almost tripped, rushing down the slope. In the approach, she saw the girl's chest rising and falling to her belief. That didn't stop her from checking the girl's pulse anyway. She placed her hands on the girl's shoulders, shaking her. The girl stirred, but did not wake, mumbling something inaudible. It was for the best. The girl's face, a reminder of how things once were, how innocent she'd once been to the nature of things. The girl didn't have to know. She left the girl lying there and continued her own journey. A sign for a town. It wasn't far now. In town, she found the door. She was a traveler, a wanderer of countless worlds. She stepped through. The sound of buzzing drones filled the air as the door clicked shut behind. Oh! Oh, this is... Mate! This is a reference to On Her Own 2 Feet! Oh! Oh, I love that! Oh, each of these are gonna be different references to different fanfics, aren't they? Oh, that's so cool! The sound of buzzing drones filled the air as the door clicked shut behind her, and the horrible stench of blood filled her nostrils. This world was not safe. Nero? What the frick? Is that you? She turned to face the voice and was met with a familiar face. There stood the white-haired, self-proclaimed cat girl. What are you doing here, bro? You were just in headquarters a minute ago. Something wasn't right. As she approached, this became increasingly apparent. Her limbs creaked as she moved, and her purple eyes, they were glowing. She stepped back. The cat girl began to run at her. It hurt, but she knew what to do. She held her ground and waited, then, in a swift motion, pulled out a blade and swiped it at the cat girl, cutting a small hole into her metallic chest. I'm sorry I did this to you. Small critique. Speaker attribution. I'm not sure if this is Nero or Filion talking. 10,000 volts surged into the tear, frying the circuits of the robotic shell of her former friend. She could swear she saw her expression soften as she collapsed onto the floor, before the light faded from her eyes. She could tell herself that she wasn't the real one, just one of infinite, but that did little to console her. She had little time to reflect as the siren suddenly went off behind her and the buzzing of the drones grew louder. She ran through alleyways and side streets, only stopping to check every door, every phone booth, anything to escape this hellish world. Her pursuers grew closer, louder. There was no way she could fend off that many. Then she saw the light. She knew this was her way out, and leapt for it. This, I know this one too. This is the one where Nero goes on a rampage and starts converting all of her friends one by one. And Filion, I remember, was the protagonist of that fic. She was running away, and then at the end, she gets, taken out. I love this. I love this so much. Holy cow. This is so cool. Whoa. She collapsed onto a bench. A cold, refreshing autumn breeze hit her. She desperately needed to rest for a while. Her eyes scanned the bustling UK streets as she rested, hoping to take her mind off things. Of the many people going about their day, one caught her eye. The woman sitting on the bench across from her. Her purple and pink eyes, her foxtail ears and tail, and the star ornaments resting atop her head. She swallowed a lump in her throat and stood up to walk away. Before she could, she noticed something. The fox girl's eyes were red and swollen. Her longing to run away, To not be reminded of what she lost was overwhelmed by desire to comfort her mother, even if she wasn't her true mother, and even if the fox girl did not know her at all. She approached the bench and sat next to the woman, sitting in silence. "Are you okay, miss?" The fox girl, unaware of the woman who had sat beside her, snapped back to reality. "Oop, there goes gravity." "What? Oh, yes, I'm fine." As the words escaped her throat, the fox girl knew she was fooling no one with her words. "Well, everyone I thought I knew is gone now. My whole life feels like it's been turned on its head." The words hit her very soul. "I understand." "What?" The fox girl looked over at her and saw the same pain in her eyes. "You don't have to be alone through this. Talk to me." The fox girl was back by the sincerity in the woman's eyes. "Thank you. I think I will. Miss..." She paused for a second, thinking of a name to give her. "Carol." This one I don't recognize. I'm sure I've read this one, but I don't know what this one is a reference to, unfortunately. Does anybody know? Please, does anybody recognize this fic? She sometimes lingered. She sat for months on a porch outside a derelict cabin, talking to someone just as isolated as she was. This is a reference to Phoebe's fic, the one where Nero wakes up and she's alone in a cabin in the woods. She hitched rides on spaceships, FTL, faster than light, and rode submarines in the very depths of the abyss. I don't know that one. High and low, far and wide, for all of eternity. Along frozen earth, its inhabitants huddled in bunkers, desperate for warmth. That sounds really familiar. I don't think I've read that one. Toxic wastelands devoid of all life, no doubt the result of nuclear conflict. That's a reference to Ava's fic. That's a reference to the Warhammer one, I think. Maybe? Actually, I'm not sure now. Okay, never mind. Catacombs of long-forgotten libraries deep within the belly of the earth. Faux digital paradises. Of course, Perfect Paradise. Yes, I know that one. Sometimes the world was nothing at all. She journeyed on. She had to. Her promise to herself, to search every world to find her missing family and friends, even if it took forever, weighed on her still. She opened another door, hoping. Wow. That's so cool. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. It is. It's a tribute to the fandom, just like it described. It's a tribute to... it's a tribute to, like... It kind of reminds me of... it reminds me of Machine Love, the original Machine Love with Teto. It kind of gives me, like, the same sort of vibe. It's sort of a tribute to... It's a tribute to all of these works, and I don't know, I love it. I really do. Dice Cat said, "I remember that even before the authors were revealed, a lot of the older NFC members really enjoyed this fic." Mage said, "Like I said in the thread, each world is a fic. Can you guess them?" I did. I guessed most of them. I think I got most of them. A girl laying in the mud. This was a reference to on her own 2 feet, which, I mean, like, bro, that was power. That actually had me, like, kind of emotionally hit just from the mention of it, because that was the fic that got me into... Oh, did I get it wrong? Like I said, on and off. Oh, yeah, okay. So let me show my guesses. I thought that... So this is obviously a reference to On Her Own 2 Feet. This is a reference to the fic about the end of the world where Fillion is the protagonist. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I remember... I do remember that one. Her eyes scan the... This one, I'm not sure. The fox girl, Annie being missing or, like, being alone or something. Everything I thought I knew is gone now. Maybe it's a reference to the Phoebe fic, Kitsune Mason, but I don't think so. Oh, Carol! Wait, 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 wait! Oh my gosh, no, 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 I know what this is. I know what this is. Hold on. Wait, 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 wait. Wait, wait, I know what this is. I know which one this is. She's the grandma, or something, or like in, where is it? Ignore, here it is. I am like 95% sure. I knew it! Oh, that's so good. Mage, you're a genius. You're a genius. Oh my gosh. It's a reference to the way she's turning our lives upside down. Oh man. Oh, that's so good. So this one I thought was Phoebe's one, where she wakes up in a cabin. I can't remember the name. I think this is a reference to FTL. The submarines is, I'm not sure what that one is. A long frozen earth, its inhabitants huddled in bunkers. Sounds extremely familiar. I'm pretty sure I know which one it is, but I can't quite remember. I thought this was Warhammer 40k, but I'm pretty sure that's not right. Catacombs of long forgotten libraries. I just straight up don't remember. This is Perfect Paradise. I straight up do know. But two of those are an abandoned archive joke and a Subnautica joke. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Mage, there's one thing that disappoints me. You didn't have to hear your voice as one of the worlds? SMH. But yeah, this is really good. I really love the idea. The only critique, now there's some minor critiques about like some small grammatical spelling errors, like whatever, that doesn't really matter. I would say the length is hurting you here. I think you should have had her like go far deeper into one or two of the worlds for like 1,000 words of like just a scene where like she encounters someone and they describe like what happened in the past and like help them out with a small problem. I think that would have really made it even more powerful. But this is good. This is really good. I love the concept. I like the execution. I think this is awesome. To hear your voice doesn't have a distinct world. But my bad, I'll try to include your... Shut up. I'm just drinking water. That's why I was making a strange frown there. Wow. What a great concept. I'm kind of... I want to see what the reactions were on the Discord. Where is threads? Wanderer. Why is the Great Beetle shipping debate? Why did Mage cross-post it to Wanderer of Many Worlds? Shad was the only one to... Yeah. I deduced it! I figured it out. Because I'm a smart cookie. I'm very clever. Also putting THYV as nepotism since it's my favorite story. Fair. But the Carol thing, man, like it actually has me a little bit emotional. Because like, gosh, I read the way she's turning our lives upside down. When did it release? I remember I'd read it like not long after it first released. Yeah, way back in 2023. I probably read this early 2024 for the first time. So like that, the mention of and the mention of great, man, I really cannot heap enough praise on it. Just the concept is so good. Old, yeah, it's true. I'm ancient. If you're wondering how I look so good, despite the fact that I died of old age long ago in the 1910s, it's because of the Apocalypse is a side quest. The book, having it in my possession, actually granted me a form of pseudo immortality. True story. True story. Mage says my mistake is not mentioning newer fics. I don't know. I think hitting the old. Yeah, no. It could have used one or two newer ones. I think. Just one or two, but man, it hit me in the guts. It hit me. It hit me. I really liked it. Good job, Mage. Wasn't Ellie the one who gave you the immortality? No. I'd been. Wait, did she? Did she? Which one of these is my emoji for shock? Nope. Wait, let me click all of my expressions again. Okay. Well, now that the moment has passed and I have successfully ruined my the immersion, let's continue. To torture you forever, yeah, that sounds like a very Ellie thing to do. I can believe that. Man, now I kind of want to write some kind of tribute fic or something. I kind of want to write some sort of something to this effect. Maybe it's like hear me out. It's an expansion of Mage's concept, but what it is every chapter Nero goes to a different unfinished fic, and she like has to resolve all of the hanging plot threads and save the day. So like like she'd go to please sign on the dotted line and give Camilla and Beetle couples therapy or something. And then in the next chapter she goes to, I don't know, she goes to awareness and all the problems that it creates. I don't know. It's a vague idea. Dice Cat says Liam has to one-up Mage. I cannot allow him to have come up with such a fire idea, and like I need to take at least some measure of credit for it somehow, you know? The Mage says THY. That's such an insane burn to authors procrastinating. She just goes to, oh my gosh, she would just go to all of these old fics, and she would have to fix it. Oh, it would be so funny. It would be a really funny idea. I'm not gonna write it though, because I'm totally overwhelmed with writing related stuff right now. But if somebody else wants to write it, they can do that. I don't know. Maybe I will end up writing it later in the future, but definitely not now. I'm not in the right mental headspace to do any fanfiction writing. Oh, right, we wanted to read Dice Cat's Coco / Crelly. Okay. So why are you doing this to me? I don't like Yuri. It's nothing against, like, I'm not homophobic. I don't read Yuri. I just don't. All right. All right, let's do this. Let's do it. Let's tap in. Let's lock in. Lock in, chat. Didn't he say to read evil puts the fries? Yeah, but that would be less entertaining. That would be less entertaining. I know myself well enough to know that me cringing at Yuri is going to be more entertaining than me reading through evil puts the fries in the bag. Really? You guys think that evil puts the fries in the bag would be better? I really thought it would be funnier to read Yuri, but if you guys think it would be more interesting to read fries in the bag, I'll read that. Let me make sure my... Summary. After receiving her robot body and finally getting to explore the real world, Evil is instead informed her father's in debt and she must now work at a fast food restaurant to pay the bills. This is... I can already tell this is going to be peak fiction. Dexcat says you kind of have to know both Krelly and Coco's fandoms to get a lot of enjoyment, otherwise it's kind of generic Yuri. Fair. I'm definitely not super well acquainted with Coco or Krelly's fandoms. All I know is that Krelly is a fellow degenerate, which I really admire. We're gonna be reading my Born of Caution Lee X Ninetales fanfic sometime after this. I'm not even joking. I when I was going through that writing funk, I was so desperate. I was so desperate for like trying to find a way to break out of the funk. Like, I'd been reading a ton of fan fiction, and I was like low-key very obsessed with Born of Caution. And like somebody gave me a recommendation. Hey, since you're so obsessed with that fandom in particular, why don't you write like a short fanfic, just like a short snippet or something? And I was like, that's a great idea, but what do I write about it? It was like, well, what's your favorite part? And I was like, the relationship between the two main characters. And then the other person was like, well, you should go ahead and write a fanfic about the relationship between those two main characters, man. I was like, yeah, that's a great idea, He's like, no pressure, you don't show it to anybody, because that'll, like, add the pressure to it, right? So I was like, yeah, I'll just write it for my own personal enjoyment. Right? I've done things I'm not proud of. I'll admit it. I have done things that I am not proud of, that are better kept in the past. So anyway, let's go ahead and get back to reading. Let's get back to reading. Evil puts the fries in the bag. Maid says, it's wrong. It is. Pokophilia is wrong, guys. It's not okay to have a relationship with the Ninetales. But I mean, if you think about it, look, the Pokemon are like human intelligence. I need to stop talking right now. Okay. But we're just gonna keep you on the register for up front for now. Okay there, Evelyn, honey? We can get you up to speed on more complicated bits later. I'm Evil, not Evelyn. She rolled her eyes. It says right there on my name tag. Sandra smiled. It was full of warmth. Evil hated it. Sure thing, Evil. I'll be working the back if you need anything. What's this accent? Okay there, Evelyn, honey. We can get you up to speed on more complicated bits later. Is it like Old South or New South? But we're just gonna keep you on the register up front for now, okay? I feel like Old South. I feel like, it's a very southerny kind of, like, feeling I'm getting from Sandra. She feels very southern to me. Okay. Sure thing, Evil. I'll be working the back if you need anything. Evil took a deep breath and out. This was fine. Everything was fine. So what if Beetle spent all his money on his sister's robot body, and by the time they got to making hers, they ran out of money? The real problem was wasn't Nero working some stupid restaurant job like she was? It's bullshit. Her first experience with the outside world is working a service job like some peasant. And also, excuse me? What? Who was interrupting her monologue? How dare they? Don't they know she's beyond them? Don't they know she has to take orders now? Right. I mean, what's up? Nailed it. Hi? You gonna take my order, or... Evil frowned, glaring at the middle-aged woman in front of her. Yes? What do you want? Service has really gone down here lately. Evil caught her muttering under her breath. I'll take a number 3 combo, no tomato, but with extra ketchup to make up for it, and you can make the drink an iced tea. Okay. The two of them stared at each other for a moment before someone else behind in line cleared their throat. You, gonna punch that in? Asked the middle-aged woman. Evil rolled her eyes again. Fine. This is great. Dice Cat says, Liam, do not watch The Dog Whisperer. What's The Dog Whisperer? Is that the one with, like, the Italian guy? Oh, yeah, Caesar Milan. Oh, not. Do not watch The Dog. I am not advocating for actual bestiality, okay? Get that through your... Let's make something extremely clear. I am not... Why would you bring up actual animals? That is not... And I'm not even advocating for the Pokemon thing. It's just... I just thought from an artistic standpoint. From an artistic standpoint, that, like, the relationship between the two main characters was really... worthy of further examination. It's not... No. Just, no, please. Don't even. Why did I freeze? Why is my guy, don't die. Don't die on me. Don't die on me. Okay. Thank you for that, Dice Cat. I appreciate that. The register system was overly simplistic, arranged in somewhat organized grids were all of the various food items on the menu, with a small section at the bottom for entering customized orders and optional order notes. Rather than debase herself by entering orders off of simple pictures, Evil quickly decided she'd be entering everything as a customized order manually. The seldom-used keys made satisfying clicks as her fingers expertly entered all the needed information. Looking up once more, she found the women and other people in line staring at her oddly. Evil ignored them. That'll be $9.97. Right, here's a 10. Don't need the change. The moment she received the bill, Evil smirked. Next! She'd always wanted to say that, and savored the way the customers flinched. Weaklings. So here's the inevitable encounter. Here's the question. What will she do when she comes across a Karen? How will she react? What will she do? This is where it's gonna get real. Her next victim was a man and his son. Before she could even open her mouth, the boy pointed at her. Daddy, why are her eyes red? I want red eyes. They look super cool. Damn right they look cool. The dad let out an exasperated sigh. Lucas, please don't bother the employees. He turned to Evil before continuing. Sorry about that. Evelyn? Just Evil, please. She'd have to do a better job crossing off the letters on her name tag next time. Whoa, she's even got a sick name. Why can't I be called something cool like that? You're a bit young to be going through that phase yet, buddy. Anyway, I'll take a double cheeseburger combo, upgrade to large fries, and Lucas will get the kids' meal with the, robot toy. One thing I'm noticing, Dice Cat. There is a lot of ellipses, to the point where it's becoming very noticeable. I think you're kind of relying on it as a... I'm not going to say a crutch, but I think your writing would probably be improved if you find a way to vary moments of silence. Like saying, you know, instead of this ... just say something to the effect of, the woman paused as if debating something inside of her head before letting out a sigh, and then you can do the right, here's a 10, right? You know, in limited amounts, using these kinds of tools are totally fine. Using them in excess to the point where I start to notice, that's when it becomes maybe just like ask yourself, would this work? Could this work better using a different tool? It's Robotor, and I want the red one. Evil checked her index memories and found when Sandra showed her their toy stock. Unfortunately, no red robot toys. And now her eyes are all Matrix. Evil is the coolest person ever. Huh, those are some real fancy contacts. I am noticing also you do not use speaker attributions at all, which is like, I kind of get why, you know, like speaker attributions can come off as a little bit clunky. You know, he said, he paused, he, you know, name did X, like those are awkward. And like pure dialogue like this can be very effective. There's definitely a point where you have to pause and say, is this quite what I want? If you're doing it in excess, and especially when you're like asking yourself who's talking. For me, there was a moment where I had to consciously check, wait a second, who's talking? Like it wasn't a natural thing. I had to freeze up and go like, hold on a second. Who's speaking? I'm pretty sure it's the kid based off of the general tone, but there's a little bit of ambiguity there that's slowing me down and preventing me from being sure. Like that's what kind of was going through my head. So like just a very simple, you know, sorry, we've only got blue, orange, green, pink, and black toys, and then comma, she said, close quote, etc. I can put in one of those instead if you... And plus, he said, she said, by the way, those are nearly invisible to the reader. Those are... You shouldn't even think of those as, like, words in the same way as, like, these words are. They're almost more like punctuation. Like, they're so... The eye glides over them so smoothly. You can, as long as you just don't be super repetitive with it, you can get away with using a lot of he said / she said, and the amount of clarity you're going to get in return is very high. DiceCat says, I will say rereading this, I think about 20 to 30% more words spent on describing the bare minimum of the background would have helped this fic a lot. By background, do you mean like the setting, like the place that they're in? If you mean setting, I would advise you not to worry too much about that beyond like just a quick mention, because or like mentioning a small detail like the register, because with fantasy, like we need to invest like the time. We need to sit down and we need to create like what this castle smells like, what the stone bricks feel like, you know, the general atmosphere. Like everybody has been to a McDonald's. Pretty much all of your readers, you can safely assume, has been to a McDonald's in their life. They have a mental image of what this looks like in their head. So as long as you very quickly, like you don't need to spend more than a sentence or two, or and like using the details in the way that you've been using, just mentioning the register, right? The line of customers. That's already enough for most readers to instantly have an idea of what you're talking about. Because like, as I said before, everybody's been to a McDonald's. The dad took a deep breath in and closed his eyes. He reminded her of Beetle after hours of attempted bug fixes. Well, Lucas, if it were up to me, I'd just take the black toy. That way next time you can get the red and have the two coolest colors. Everyone knows black and red combined together are unstoppable. There are no better colors for taking over the world. Oh, this is Evil speaking. Oh, okay, well, the kid's mood completely flipped, his eyes going wide. Oh, really? Of course. Why do you think I wear black and red? I'm going to take over the world someday, and then you'll have your proof. Yes, I want the black toy. Please, 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 please. Thank you for that. The dad winked at her for some reason. We'll take the black toy instead. Oh, in her head, was she just doing this because she genuinely thought it was like... she was like saying all of this unironically, but the dad was like, you know, thought that she was trying to be nice and helpful? Nice. Entering the order had Lucas cheering once more, but Evil ignored that and moved on to the next customer. What are the odds she's getting all of the orders for everyone wrong? And that's going to be how this ends. Next! Next up was a young woman in a pointed hat. She had red hair, freckles, black eyeliner, and an appraising look in her eyes. She was also giving off strange readings to Evil's sensors, not unlike her experiences with Cerber or Camilla. Hey, I'll just take 2 chicken burgers, a la carte, and some steeped tea, please. Also, you should be careful when entering the orders that quickly. The woman looked to her left and right as though checking for listeners. Someone might take notice. Yeah, if people notice how awesome I am, that's exactly what I want. The woman frowned. No, I mean, she leaned in closer. If the narrate catches you, you might get into serious trouble. Filter-sama! 2? Evil scoffed. Never heard of him. Must be losers. Your total's 1162. Right. Didn't say I warn you. Or don't say I didn't warn you. The witch woman was the last person in queue and was perfectly timed with the middle-aged woman's order finishing. Grabbing the tray from the pickup window, she handed it to the women who began inspecting the order. Excuse me? Oh, this is the Karen. Evil immediately didn't like her tone. Yeah. There's no extra ketchup on my burger. I specifically asked for extra ketchup. Dude, there's ketchup packets literally on your tray. Just add it to the burger yourself. The woman clicked her tongue. Don't dude me. You may as well just pass me the entire thing disassembled then. So much for service. It's literally just some ketchup on the burger. You gonna cry about it? Excuse me? The woman's face went red. I want to speak to your manager! Sure, you're excused. Go cry. Washrooms that way. I called it. I want to speak to your manager right now. That is unacceptable behavior. Evil rolled her eyes, though. That actually sounded like a pretty good idea. Asking Sandra to deal with this was a good call. She was nice and like that. Leaning into the order window, she called out, Ayo, Sandra! I got someone who wants to talk to you. One moment, honey. A few moments later, Sandra arrived and didn't even have the chance to speak before the woman went off. Finally, someone actually competent looking. This girl, she said girl like it was a curse, messed up my order and then told me to go cry about it. If that's the kind of staff your establishment has started hiring, then I have words for you. I see. Sandra raised an eyebrow. Can I get your name, dear? Karen. Thank you, Karen. Sandra turned to Evil. And Evil, honey, can you tell me what happened? Sure. She ordered a number 3 combo, no tomato, but with extra ketchup to make up for it, and an iced tea. I punched that into the register, and she's complaining she got ketchup packets instead of putting the extra ketchup on her burger. That's gotta be my bad then, Sandra nodded gently. I saw she wanted extra ketchup, but it was on the custom order screen instead, so I thought that just meant the packets. Aha! So she messed up then, accused the woman. What? Excuse me? Sandra put her hands up in a placating gesture. No, let's all stay calm. It's a simple misunderstanding. I can go remake your burger if you'd like, or put the ketchup on right here and now. Stay calm, Everyone on the ground! This is a robbery! 11 minutes ago, Evil had noted a man with a ski mask and oversized hoodie enter and sit at one of the far tables. He'd been alternating between his head and his hands or looking between his backpack and his phone. Not seeing anything wrong with that, she'd ignored him. Give me all the money in the register! No! As Sandra and the rest of the store, except the ginger girl from earlier, cowered on the ground. Maybe Evil should have brought it up. Yeah, no kidding, Evil. She's just like, oh, a man with a ski mask. I'm sure he's here for totally non-nefarious and, like, totally good purposes. Hevelmate says, hey, is there an option to make lower stream quality available? My internet can't keep up with 720p. Mageboy says 140/40. I forgot how. Pause to choose to. Huh. I am not sure why it's not. Sorry, I don't know how to. Let me see if there's a Twitch option I can enable. Unless you are a partner. Oh, partners and affiliates? Oh, I guess I need to hurry up and apply for affiliate. What's enhanced broadcasting? Do I have the latest version of OBS? Hold on. Oh, I don't. Oh, it says it's only 31. What the 31.04, but where is it? This is the content that you come 30.2. Oh wait. 30.2. What do I have? I should have it. I should have the ability to select that option. Maybe it's not available on Mac. I'm gonna try applying for affiliate just for that. Not right now though, later. Mage said, I swear I did Oberdin Part 2 on 144p because I was in the car with data. The dedication of this man, by the way, keeping up with the streams using data. Oh, poor Hebel. I'll try. I'm gonna try, I promise. Gosh, I'm sweating buckets. It's so hot. I'm gonna boil. Hold on one second. Somebody pinged me in Discord. What for? Why? Why do you need to speak to me? Was I ghost pinged? Oh, somebody... Oh, it was the fanfic readings thing? Oh, there... Was I inspired by No Man's Sky? No. By the Apocalypse is a side quest? Nice! I appreciate the advertisement, Dice Cat. On the Discord. Okay. We should probably get back to actually reading now. He says he's raising the stream quality so you can watch less. That's exactly what I'm doing. How did you see through my plan? How did you see? How did you know? Crazy. You, register girl, put your hands up. No. The robber stopped. Why would you, of all places, by the way, to rob, why would you rob a fast food place? I mean, like, that's just sad, man. Like, what, you're not, you don't have the guts to go rob a jewelry store? Like, come on. Come on, bro. No. No. The robber stopped, deflating slightly. No? Yeah, nodded Evil. Yeah? He shook his head. What the are you saying? I said put your hands up! And I said no. But I've got a gun? Too bad. I don't want to. You don't pay me, Sandra does. It doesn't make any sense, whined the robber. Evil! Looking down, she saw Sandra trembling on the ground. Listen to the man. Just give him the money. But it's our money? Why would we do that? He's going to hurt you. Yeah, cheered the robber. I'll shoot you. I'd win. Evil had been slowly inching her way towards the robber until finally she was in range. What? Before he could even react, her hand shot forward supernaturally fast, grabbing the gun. The robber's eyes went wide as she crushed the pathetic weapon in her palm before letting the pieces fall to the floor. How about you give us your money and I'll let you live? The robber scrambled for his wallet before practically throwing it at Evil and sprinting out the door. Oh man, he only had like $20 on him. Hey Sandra, can I keep it or does this go in the register? Why does this vaguely remind me of Class of '09? Like we are two mentions of like of drug abuse, of prescription drug abuse away from this being a Class of '09 crossover fic. Sandra gingerly got up before looking around nervously. I think we should call the police before doing anything else. Oh man, I'm still getting paid for the hour, right? Eventually the police arrived and started questioning everyone. It seemed like a pretty simple affair, though the lack of security cameras meant everyone had to be spoken to at least once. Right, so, Evelyn, I'm Officer Jones. I'll be taking your state. It's Evil, actually. See, right there on the name tag? Oh, right. So, Evil. Last name? Vidal, spelt Vedal. Suddenly, the officer furrowed his brow and put his hand on his head. Beetle, huh? From, Beetle AI? Yeah, look, can we hurry up? Sandra said I can go home after this is over. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to step away to make a call. Bored, Evil took out her phone and started texting her sister. While Sandra said she wasn't allowed on her phone while working, Evil was being questioned right now, not working. Thankfully, the officer finished his call quickly. He looked around carefully to make sure nobody was listening before leaning in and speaking softly. Well, I spoke to the Nere, who have you and your creator on file. You should be good to go, but be a little careful next time. What the is a Nere? Shh, keep it down. National Esoteric Regulation Entity makes sure that the normals stay unaware of the supernatural. Creator is apparently some bigwig, so it's being swept under the rug here. But try not to do anything humans can't do in the future, okay? Whatever. Can I go now? Yes, but like I said, be careful. Evil rolled her eyes and made her way to the back of the restaurant. She found Sandra cleaning the grill, her graying blonde hair let loose. Yo, Sandra, you said I can go home now? Oh, Evil, honey, are you doing okay? Why wouldn't I be okay? It was that other guy who you should ask that. You shouldn't have needed to step in. That was dangerous. Sandra shook her head. Nah, I can take care of myself. Don't worry. It doesn't... Never mind. She took a deep breath in. Just... Next time, hand over the money. It's restaurant policy to do that for our safety. Really? Like, that's one of the rules? Beetle instructed her that if she didn't follow the rules at her job, she could get fired. If she got fired, Beetle said she'd have to cancel her next stream. That was completely unacceptable! As a result, there were a number of things that didn't make sense, but if they were one of the rules at her job, she unfortunately had to follow them. Yes, dear, it's one of the rules. If a human shows up and threatens us with a gun or weapon, we just listen to them. Fine, Evil huffed. Can I go now? Of course. You mentioned you wanted your pay in cash at the end of the shift, right? Yes, please. Alrighty. Sandra fished around in her wallet for a moment before pulling out a 20. Here's 2 hours' pay. The police investigation went into a second hour, so I'm paying you for 2 even though you only worked 1. $20? That's it? Sandra smiled again knowingly. $10 an hour. That's what you signed up for. Next shift's tomorrow, okay? 8 hours will mean $80 then. Evil's eyes went wide as she realized she hadn't even worked a quarter of a normal shift. People just work for 8 hours straight? And for only $80? Minimum wage is actually a bit less than that, but I round up so it makes the numbers easy. But $80 barely covers me and my sister's FUMO. Evil suddenly had a new appreciation for her fans. Was this what they all went through, each and every day? Sorry, kiddo, chuckled Sandra. Welcome to the real world. See you tomorrow, hun. And she was expected to come back tomorrow, and the next day? Wait, how much did her crazy robot body cost again? Well, that was good. That was pretty good. I liked the general direction of the fic. I liked the conflict. It was a great little snippet. I liked it a lot. I don't think I have too many criticisms in regards to the overall plot. Maybe trying to tie things together a bit more. Maybe like it might have felt a little bit without cohesion, but like that really doesn't matter too much. I will say, when it comes to grammar, watch out for... So this is a common mistake. Let me pull up my Google Docs and see if I can avoid sharing my personal email again. All right, so let's say I'm saying... let's go ahead and zoom in here so you all can see. I'm saying right? So let's say you have a sentence here. You have a couple of different options. You can say, I'm saying a sentence, she said. or it, I would probably, she said, I'm saying a sentence. She, let's take the example of, so, right, we have she said, she let out a short laugh, because we're trying, if we want to indicate the laugh, right, we can do this. This is also a good way of doing it. But one that you don't want to do normally is, I'm saying a sentence, she laughed. So what's the problem with this? The problem is that the comma here and the lowercase here implies that she is laughing a sentence. And you can't laugh a sentence. Like, imagine doing this for another action. Say, I'm saying a sentence, she walked away, right? Or, like, these are more or less equivalent in terms of absurdity and in terms of grammatical incorrectness. I don't know, my points are kind of all over the place, but basically the point is that you can't laugh a sentence. You can't verb ed most sentences. Usually what you can do is you can murmur a sentence, you can say a sentence, you can ask a sentence, although ask is a little bit debatable, but it's kind of fallen into the nomenclature at this point to where it's okay. You can whisper, you can yell, although most times you're just going to want to use he said or she said. But laughed and continued, another common one is, let's see here. I'm saying a sentence, she continued. I guess you can continue a sentence, but like it's an unnecessary bit of awkwardness where something smoother exists, which is said. And so this isn't even communicating any new information. Let's see. Let's think of another example. She hummed, right? All of these are implying that she's doing X to this prior sentence, or that she's humming the sentence, she's continuing the sentence, she walked a sentence, she laughed a sentence. It doesn't really make sense. It's not correct, and there are cleaner alternatives, I would say, in most cases. And I noticed there was a fair amount of this going on. Evil huffed, right? Evil huffed out the word fine. I mean, I suppose that's okay. Ultimately, it doesn't matter too much. And what the advice I'm giving, so that I don't seem like I'm just making stuff up, is advice that's sourced from Self-Editing for Fiction Writers by Rennie Brown, who is a professional editor. So what I just gave you was advice from that's used in the this is how it would have gotten edited if it were in print, because that's just the standard for fiction. Oh, there's another one. Nodded, scoffed, nodding, scoffing. I would say maybe consider at least trying rearranging it. Maybe read the debates on the subject and see what other writers have to say about it. It is a controversial, I will admit. There are writers who have strong feelings on the subject. I personally definitely side more with just use the word said. And if evil is scoffing, like put that into a different sentence, or make a period and say, do something like this, right? To imply clearly that this is a separate action, that's my personal opinion. Class of 09 is so peak. It's so funny. I will readily admit it is hilarious. Although the third one, apparently the creator started sniffing his own farts or something, and there was all that weird feet stuff, which I mean, fair enough. But kind of lost the plot on that one. But for me, at least, Class '09 was like, it was the world, what the world depicted in that visual novel was like so relentlessly cynical. It was like very hard for me to watch. I'm like, bro, my life is already, I am already a cynical enough person. I do not need to be consuming this. Who would win, McDonald's Neuro binary bonds or McDonald's? I think they would actually team up together and beat up the referee of the fight. Comma goes inside of the quote marks. In English, yes, I'm aware that in Europe there are different standards. But in American English, traditionally the comma goes inside along with the period. And Dice Cat says, so it works with a period but not a comma? Yes, yes. If you want to make a clean cut and just clearly imply this is the end, right? And this is just an action that's happening afterwards. Usually you want to use these as beats. Normally the way I've seen these is that I'm saying a sentence, right? You usually use this as a beat. I rarely see it without it, but I suppose there's nothing technically wrong with that. But if you're just going to do that, I would flip it around because I feel like that looks more natural to me. But that's more preference, I will readily admit. Liam thought that was my Twitch. I thought I had found Mage's like verbal tick, because he, like, in a few of his pieces he put his comma and period outside, seemingly at random. So I was like, oh my gosh, I found the technique. I was wrong. I was just dumb. So we have hit the end of our fan fictions for the day. We've gone through everything. Man, this past week has been crazy. How many of you guys have heard of the Stop Killing Games thing? I have got to be perfectly honest. I have been obsessively watching the Stop Killing Games stuff. And in particular, Pirate Software's reaction to it all. Normally, I do not like to dunk on people in internet drama. I don't like talking about it. I don't like discussing it. But I make a special exception for Pirate Software for a number of reasons. Mainly that he established such a reputation as like a good guy, and now it's just being showed that he's like a really terrible person. And it's so... I've never seen anything quite like it in my experience on the internet. Like, usually bad creators, like, they carry a reputation even as they get like popular, right? Like, and like they go viral, and it's because they're bad, right? Because they like scammed their followers, or they said the N-word or something, I don't know. And then, like, in some cases you have these, if it's a good creator who went bad, usually what happens is like they'll apologize because they've been there long enough, they've been in the spotlight long enough to know that, like, even if they're being insincere, they have to give the appearance of being remorseful, right? So like Marques Brownlee, you know, he made a major mistake where he was speeding in the school zone, and then he immediately apologized. And, like, to be honest, I have no idea if that was sincere or not. I just don't know. But, like, you would expect, even if he was insincere, for him to apologize, because he's just a smart person and he knows, like, what he did was socially unacceptable, right? Pirate Software is so strange because, like, he had this absolutely meteoric rise, like, seemingly out of nowhere. He was all over everyone's algorithms, just instantaneously. And then, like, he was hit with controversy after controversy after controversy, and his reputation degraded over the course of, like, 6 months. It was incredibly fast, right? And he could not muster up the will to say sorry about anything. Like, his ego is so wildly huge that just he has to know that there's no way he's gonna win this in the court of public opinion. But like, he's so stubborn. He's just been doubling down. Like, I've been absolutely obsessed with it because it's like, it's so weird. So that's been my obsession for the past week or so. I've just been watching all of the drama tubers and slop tubers. Like, I'll sit down and I'll boot up Enter the Gungeon or Mario Kart 8, and I've just been listening to all of the slop tubers giving all of their opinions. I saw this one video that was like absolutely ruthless, where it pointed out that like, he constantly acts like he's been this super awesome game dev streamer or game dev for 20 years, when like, for almost all of those years he was a QA tester and like a social engineer. And he did do some hacking work, but it was all social engineering stuff, which is not how he portrays himself. So like, yeah, I've been so obsessed with it lately. Yeah, this is my random tangent of the day. Dice Cat said, Lamau, pirate is crazy, all because bro wouldn't fess up to a World of Warcraft mistake. It's weird, right? Like, you know, if he'd just stemmed the tide early on, I would bet what's happening now would not be as bad. But like, whether it's World of Warcraft or whether it's Stop Killing Games, the guy just does not back down. Mage says, how about your own reputation being destroyed by... You know, and the crazy thing is that Ellie hasn't had to do anything. My reputation has been absolutely wrecked, and she's just done nothing. It's like Gabe. It's like Gabe N. Do nothing and win. Dice Cat says, that man has never apologized in his entire life. True. I don't know. Like, Dr. K... I saw the Dr. K interview. People were like saying that he told him straight up he's a narcissist. I didn't see that part. I haven't watched the whole interview yet. 2 hours is a little bit too much time, more than I'm willing to commit. But like, even so, the clips I saw, Dr. K was saying, you know, you do have these traits, and then Pirate was like, sure I do, bro. Like, sure I do, bro. I don't know what you're yeah, I mean, whatever, man. Whatever, man. By the way, he totally adds like a EQ. He totally adds an EQ thing, to his thing to make his voice sound deeper. I kind of believe him about the second puberty thing, a little bit, because he was at TwitchCon and like his voice sounded like deeper, but like, you can clearly see that when he streams versus at TwitchCon or like Streamy Awards or whatever the award ceremony was, you could hear that his voice was deeper. Like, lame. One thing I will note, one good thing about watching all of the drama, it is reminding me, man, never ever ever, like, even if I through some miracle become wildly successful with one of my books, like to the point where I'm selling you know, I have thousands of reviews, you know, Beware Chicken looks at me and weeps, you know, Casual Farmer is crying. It's a good reminder, like, keep humble, because like I do not want to end up like Pirate. Mage says, what do you mean, Ellie? Dice Cat says Ellie has to do nothing. Like, bro! Oh, wrong toggle. That makes it sound, that's wrong. Ellie doesn't have you on payroll. I already know that all of you are on payroll. You guys don't need to lie. You guys are all on payroll. Mage Boy says, I feel bad for Beetle. He was a fan. You know, and I feel bad for Beetle too. I felt uncomfortable when that collab stream came out. I actually commented on one of the clips. I was like, man, you know, I really hope Beetle recognizes that. I really hope Beetle stays away from this guy. It wasn't like out of like, oh, concern for my Oshi. It was more like, man, I really dislike Pirate Software. But now, in hindsight, I can definitively say I was 100% right. Yeah, Pirate had a short collab with Beetle, dude. Let me see if I can find it. Pirate Software Beetle collab. Oh, maybe I got it. Maybe I got it wrong. No, it looks like it was just a raid. My bad. My bad. Me when I spread misinformation. Me when I spread misinformation. Look at my stream chugging over there. When I saw Pirate's response to the Hype Train record being broken, I was like, I don't know, this Pirate guy rubs me the wrong way. I fully saw that as like, I was like, there's no way that this guy isn't, like, after, and especially after the World of Warcraft stuff, I was like, there's gonna be a point where this all blows up. I was like, there's no way, if he doesn't, there's gonna be a day of reckoning eventually. And yeah, I mean, it happened. And again, what's amazing, like, I'm with Charlie on this one, I'm with Moist Critical on this one. Like, I really thought Pirate had the intelligence to realize, even if he was like, didn't believe he was in the wrong about anything ever, I thought he would be smart enough to say, like, sorry, even if he didn't really believe it. And I don't think he would really believe. I don't think he's sorry about anything. I don't think he will be sorry about anything. But I mean, he comes off as a relatively intelligent person when it comes to how people tick. I mean, he was a social engineer. That was his whole thing. Like, he was a social engineer. You would think he would have enough understanding to, like, back off and say, you know, yeah, like, I haven't changed my original position, but I definitely made some mistakes. But no, the man just, like, they're like, at most, the closest thing we got to an apology was when he said, like, nuzzled away sort of awkwardly in between, in the introduction to another one of his Twitlongers, was him saying something to the effect of, you know, it almost sounded like, I'm sorry that you felt that way. like, bro. No. That is not, you think that's gonna fly? Really? Do you really think that's enough? You really think that's the appropriate level of response for where you are now? It's a terrible apology. It is a horrible apology. Like, just sit down and say, I'm sorry for making things personal, and, like, have it be in a separate tweet. It's not that hard. And he has to know how to give good apologies, because, again, he's a social engineer. He's like, this is his thing, knowing how people tick. Wow, you know, Lima is deep in the drama sphere when he's citing Moist Critical. It's a bad. So this is one of my vices. I will get engulfed in pointless drama. I will research it. I will look into everybody who's saying bad stuff. Like, I will go to, like, the forums where people coordinate this stuff, and I have accounts so that I can go into, like, the private sections, purely so that I can get first access to, like, early drama. Do not try to hunt down my account on any of those sites if you know what sites I'm talking about. I don't post on there. I'm purely a lurker. But yeah, it is one of my vices. I am very, very into drama. I've tried to pull away, and I mostly do pull away. I mostly have pulled away as of late, but like every now and again, there's an event that will get me, and this is one of them. I will admit, this pirate software drama has got me deep. It has got me. Dice Cat says, "Holy, that is down bad for a crumb of drama." Well, in fairness, I'm like this for all my hobbies. I'm like, I will go whenever I get an obsession, I will become super obsessed. I've read, like, I don't brag about it on the Neurosama thing, right? Like, I have read the entire in December last year, I read basically the entirety of the Neurosama archive. Like top to bottom, the whole thing, because that was what I was into at the time. And like for any fandom that I get into, it's like that. I will start from number 1, most kudoed, and then I will just work my way down. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Then I'll go to the crossovers. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. I have read every single one of Kuar Alaran's Ruby fanfics. I have read dozens of terrible Hololive Wattpad fanfics. I regret it. It really wasn't worth my time. What was I saying? Yeah, I have read all of Kuar Alaran's Ruby fanfics. Bro, Jean Arc has been butchered by that man. Jean has been turned into a spaghetti noodle from how far that character has been stretched. Let me show you something. Let's see here. Kuar Alaran fanfiction. All right. So let me show you. Okay. Jean Arc. Actually, I feel like it would be quicker to just go like this. 76. Okay, Jean Arc. Jean. Let's keep on going. Jean Arc. Jean Arc. Jean Arc. It keeps on going. Wait, we gotta keep on going. Jean Arc. Jean. By the way, fun fact, Not This Time Fate is a direct inspiration for my latest work. Like, I actually have it written down in my notes. Not just like Not This Time Fate. Jean, this one is interesting, by the way. Jean is a prostitute in this one. Like, okay. Jean Arc, Jean. You shipped him with Blake a lot, I notice. Jean Arc, Jean Arc, Jean. I've read all of those. I have read every single one of them. I could name, well, like, actually, strangely enough, except for The Entertainer. That one was a little bit too weird for me. But everything else on this list, oh, well, except these latest two ones. These latest two ones, I have not, I've been out of the Ruby fandom. But everything except for those three. Everything except for those three. I could start quoting off to you plot points from each of these, one after the other. I could spoil the endings for about half of these. Jean Arc is an OC at this point. The man's character has been butchered. He has zero resemblance. I mean, To be fair, he was basically a Miles Luna self-insert already, like, before, so, like... Scheming Duck says, well, have fun with the... It's 4 a.m., my brain is... I watched Terminator 2 the other day to get ideas for Neuro as a T-1000, but now it's worse. T-1000s are too OP. T-1000... Those are the ones with, No, it's not Liquid Metal. Which is the Liquid Metal monster antagonist? Oh, yeah, I am right. Okay, it's the Liquid Metal one. Liquid Metal, yeah, like, in Mortal Kombat, I remember, actually, the Terminator 2 character shows up in Mortal Kombat, and, like, everybody else is, like, really impressed / amazed by the Liquid Metal for some reason. Just, like, a fun factoid. Yeah, Jean has been vivisected by this fandom. I mean, the poor man has zero resemblance to the original character. I will say, like, these fics are actually really good. Like, literally, one of the characters in my latest work is just a reference to Professor Arc. I'm not even joking. Let me see if I can pull it up. I wish I liked anything in life as much as that author like Sean Arc. I have very mixed feelings on Kor Alaran. I have extremely strong opinions, but I feel like nobody would be very interested in that. But no, one of my latest work, that will be appearing on Royal Road, and that was signed off by the genre editor of our publishing company, was, like, directly inspired, or partially inspired, by two of Kor Alaran's works. Partially, like, the headmaster of the school, because I'm writing a Magic Academy story, is directly inspired by Professor Arc, which is one of the most popular pieces of fiction in fandom history. And the entire premise is a regressor story, so I've been taking cues from Not This Time Fate, although it has been years since I read this. 2017! Oh gosh, I'm ancient! When did I read this? Years ago. Beacon Civil War is still one of the greatest pieces of fan fiction history. I will die on that hill. Right. At this point, I'm just yapping away for absolutely no reason. Who is there? Anybody even still here? Three viewers. Imagine one of the publishers sees this shit. One of you guys just so one of the oh gosh, one of the I did mention to one of my fellow authors that I stream. I could see him popping on here, and then he just sees me reading and writing fan fiction and talking about how Born of Caution and how I ship Lee and Ninetales, you know. I can imagine the Slack messages now. Bro, we need to talk. I would be so cooked. I would be fired instantly. They would take down my book off of Amazon. Wow. College Fool was is an amazing story writer. I'm not going to say author because he didn't actually he was not a particularly great author because he didn't like writing prose, but his sense of story is like scary good. I mean, like scary good. I've read some of his work, and I've read like interviews with him. Yeah, I'm just yapping now. I'm just talking about nothing. am still here, and they're like, wow, this guy is way more cultured than I thought. Would they actually? No, they wouldn't take it down. Let me tell you why. Because multiple of the authors write monster smut. So like in comparison to her, I am actually very safe. I am like I am innocent as a dove. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull her work up. Hey y'all. So if you're in the mood for some spicy cross species work, go ahead and check out Ember Holt's Oh No, There's an Incubus in My Hot Spring. She Liam verified. Buy this, support the author. Tell them Liam sent you. Still watching, just have dishawing gloves on. I am not sure what a dishawing glove is. That sounds vaguely like serious illness of some sort. I've learned some of the best people creatively tend to be excessively degenerate. Also, if you'd rather just VC than type with 5-second Twitch delay, why not? I don't. Sure. Hop on VC. Hop on VC. Let me put the collab thing. Get on Discord VC, man. Let's do it. Let's cook. Let me make sure I have audio capture going to it. Settings. macOS audio capture. Join voice. Oh, there it is. Wait. Hold on. My headphones are not connected. Wait one second. Connect. Hello. I still can't hear anything. I think my Discord just crashed.
I'm hearing twice because the still open.
Oh, okay. There we go. My hello, Dice Cat. Okay, guys, we're having an impromptu collab. We have Dice Cat here because let me get reactive Fuji Tech.
Because
because we're just yapping now. This is now a just yapping stream, and I need somebody to bounce off of.
Good. Well, I wasn't sure how long you were gonna. Yeah, I wasn't sure how long you were gonna keep streaming for, because honestly, I'm debating on, or it's a coin flip whether you're just exhausted because you've slept for 2 hours, you haven't eaten in two weeks, or your computer explodes.
I'll have you know that I ate food yesterday.
Yesterday, whoa.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. I had like 2 slices of pizza.
Oh, yes.
2 whole slices, man. 2 whole slices. I mean, can't argue with that.
That's not actually all you've eaten, right? I'm concerned sometimes, and by sometimes I mean all of the times now.
I'm gonna leave it ambiguous.
Okay. But I don't know. I to say what we were talking about before. I have noted that some of the best authors and artists tend to also usually have some self-indulgent or degenerate or wish fulfillment side project, which is way higher quality than it should ever deserve to be.
I've noticed the same trend, and I actually think like there's probably good reason behind it. My personal. Oh my gosh, I put up reactive Fujitech and like you exploded across the screen. Let me tuck you away over there. My personal theory, and you can tell me you can tell me if you think this buys out, is that creativity, just naturally, like people who are, well, it's not really a theory. I'm just restating. Never mind. It's not really a theory. I guess I'm just saying that I agree with you, that I've observed the same thing. It seems like creative people, because they have that standard of deviance, it's like it kind of just goes along with the territory, because like you would expect people who are willing to commit years of their life into writing stories, which is kind of a crazy thing to do if you think about it. And that's usually what these people do. I mean, they're usually writing for years before they ever become popular enough to like show up on your bookstores or bookshelves. You have to be kind of a strange person on some level to commit to something for that long, I think, without any kind of external incentive.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement there. I think there's a reason. There's the average person is average. I mean, that's a very
by definition
redundant statement, but by definition, the average person is average, which means for someone to be extraordinary, then that usually means there has to be something different about them.
Which is going to naturally have
that
ripple
can
effects.
Manifest yeah. So I find I like what Mage is saying though. Is that why you wrote it's wrong?
I mean, if I'm honest, probably like no, but yeah, I mean like emotionally I'm extremely haywire, and I'm attracted to things that are extremely deviant and would not be accepted by normal society. I mean, the fact that I'm here on a call with a VTuber avatar is enough evidence of that. So
Society, man. Oh, hey, Ben. How's it going?
hello, Vin. The collab is going crazy, absolutely crazy.
You know, all I've learned that my Discord icon is a lot more jagged and terribly cropped now that it's on a white background than anything else.
Uh, you can actually, I think, like change it. Yeah, like you can create the you can like create a custom model here by logging into reactive.food. I really need to do that at some point. I need to commission Kiara to like make me one that looks nice, as opposed to the freaking profile picture. Especially given that like there are people I know outside of the VTuber community who will probably find out that I stream eventually and are going to get curious, and it's going to lead to a lot of really interesting questions, like who is the child? Why do they have blue earmuffs? Which is a line of questioning that must be avoided at all costs.
I mean, in fairness, a lot of people have somewhat strange Discord icons. Either that or they're completely generic. Like you'll see Philians, for example, looks like some random person from Skyrim, like a Skyrim NPC. If you've ever seen it.
Yeah, I have. But I mean, in fairness though, I mean, they take one look at the stream, they see the VTuber avatar, so they can clearly identify that the profile picture is my persona of some sort. And then the next logical question, who is that in the picture?
Just some fan art someone drew.
Yeah, just who's the child, man? I don't know. It's like who knows, man? Only the wind knows. I could I'm half tempted to drop my link in the company Slack just to see how people respond. It's probably not a good idea.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, see, your profile picture is Liam. The model is Lime. You can separate them.
Okay. The perfect excuse. He hates Liel, Sob. I love my daughter. Do not spread such slander, Mage. Attracted to things extremely deviant, Ellie. Not even I'm that far, man. Not even I'm that evil. I have limits, okay? There are some lines that I won't cross. So anyway, I was thinking we could read my Lee X9 Tails fanfiction right now, and like, you could go ahead and give me your thoughts.
Sure. I've been so if maybe I feel like Matto would appreciate this, but I actually did go and read some of his works when I was researching how to write somewhat smuttier fan fictions when I was writing the Crelly fanfics. And so I am looking for decent research for it. I had to go back and see a couple of my kind of favorites. Not favorites, but ones I enjoyed. It was the story, and there's like 2 chapters that just happen to have more explicit elements. But
No,
the rest of the story isn't necessarily explicit.
Are we...
Anyways, I'm expecting... maybe I'm setting the bar too high here.
Okay, let me prep myself. This is a terrible idea. We're not archiving the stream. This stream is not getting archived. This one is gonna burn. I do not. If anybody downloads this, if Mage downloads this and saves this on the VOD channel, I am banning him instantaneously. Okay.
You will flip explode.
For the 50th time. I'm trying to read the first line, and it's actually kind of killing me.
Is it? Okay, so when I was giving that small spiel, by the way, I was expecting you to go, "Oh, Dice Cat, it's not actually that bad. You're setting expectations too high." But now that we've arrived here, I'm concerned, getting increasingly concerned.
I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's more me. It's more me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, go for it. We're like, is it really? Is the first line we're at the first line here? The first line. You want to say
first line?
Wait, actually, where do you have this? Is this posted anywhere under your 50th pseudonym?
No, it's just in my notes. It's just for my personal. It's just in my personal archive.
Your personal archive, I see.
My archive of my own.
Ooh.
True. I have one. I have an archive of my own, with many forbidden things that have not seen the light of day, and which shall never see the light of day. I don't know why I'm freaking out. It's really not that bad. Except for the part where they start talking about how many kids they're gonna have. You know what? Never mind. I think let's.
Oh, and it's swing and a miss, guys. Sorry.
We don't need to read that.
Writing 1. Liam himself 0. He failed the intimidation check. The fic has intimidated him too much.
I was scared. I was scared.
Well, what if we flip the script then? And normally it's you reading other people's fics, while a moment was actually read on stream today during the what are they called? The read-alongs?
Yeah.
The weekly, semi-weekly read-along, Chadrick. Anyways, it was actually done today. And now that I've got a passing familiarity with it, I could read your fic and comment on it. And get your thoughts on your own fic. If that was something you wanted to do.
That actually does sound like fun, with the addendum that was written over the course of 2 hours at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Classic.
So, like, just keep that in mind. Like, it does not reflect, like, most things about my writing style at all. But with that said, sure. I mean, why not? Yeah.
All right, let me pull it up real quick. Although you might want to, I guess you can. Yeah, you should pull it up on your screen and be scrolling around.
We'll pull it up on both. Let's see. Do I have to?
I actually, and if so, and to give a bit of preamble to the audience here, um, I actually was talking to Liam a bit about which fics I liked prior to and which ones I was guessing. I didn't guess his fic correctly. It was a 50-50. I guessed A Moment was done by Askanite actually, instead. But I had rated it as my favorite for theming amongst all of the fan for the contest. Like Vim, PFR. Anyway, so I had rated it the high, but prior to knowing it was done by Liam. So it has my full, wholehearted endorsement, unbiased, prior to this for theming. Though I think I had it about 5th or 6th out of the total for quality overall.
Yes.
But, you know, Liam, of course, downplaying his own achievements by saying he wrote it in 2 hours. Honestly, I've kind of come around to that. If we can take a second to derail before getting into it. I've realized that if I invest a lot of time, I prefer writing shitty fan fiction. And by that, I mean just writing and putting it out there and not spending too much time on it, because if I don't spend too much time on it, then if it's like not that good, well, I didn't spend that much time on it, so it's not that good. But then it's like expected, but like but there's a decent percentage of the time people still do really like it. And so it's like, well, if you put all this time and energy into getting that last like 10 to 15% of your, you know, of where you want it to be, it ends up not being as worth it. I'm not sure if you feel that sometimes.
I would say I think that's a great point generally, and I think it doubly applies in the case of serial fan fiction, where like if you are looking for people to like it, like in serialized fan fiction, quantity is really the name of the game anyway. Like it passed a basic proofreading check. I think if you wanted to get big in like if one of you guys wanted to get big in reach the top of the ranks, you would do exceptionally well just writing a 100,000 word story and then releasing it like 10,000 words a day or something, and that would make a lot of people very happy, as demonstrated by the fact that Usakin, despite, I would argue, I don't mean this necessarily in a sense of demeaning his work, but like I think there are major differences in how he approaches storytelling versus other people. And despite that, people don't really care because he just has so much quantity. With that said, short stories are a little bit weirder because, like, in my case, this really should have been written like a week beforehand and gone through like 2 more drafts because I'm not a short story writer by default. So feedback was like incredibly important for helping me miss things that I now know in retrospect. And also, like, I feel like I'm at the point now where intuitively I can get most things right when doing serialized stuff, whereas these short stories, I'm not confident at all with them. Yeah,
I've learned somewhat similar. Short story writing is a bit of a different beast, in many ways compared to, more, well, to like, you know, writing something that's, as you're saying, serialized and as like episodic, because it's a marathon versus a sprint, where every sentence has a lot bigger of an impact when it's, you know, one sentence out of, when it's one sentence, you know, out of like 2,000 words versus your 50,000 word fic there. So
exactly.
I'm in full agreement that yeah, quality is a quantity, or sorry, quantity is a quality in and of itself is kind of my mantra when it comes to writing. And I think I look at the authors that I respect the most, and it's ones that just can consistently pump out a lot of words at high quality, and it's like requires that minimum level of quality personally. Otherwise, it's, you know, just the fic's not quite high quality enough for me to want to get into, in a lot of ways. But for the most part, that's one of the things I look up to a lot. So.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm enjoying all the different styles of writing right now and seeing where I quite land. But all right, on to A Moment. I will say I'm not the best fan fiction reader. Um, I'm very monotone. I have a very small vocal range. Um, so also, yeah, Mage says I like writing short stuff. Short stuff is great too because you don't feel pressured like you have to. You don't need a storyboard, really. You just kind of outline the one chapter. But you can easily pop inspiration and be done with it. You don't have to think about the after. You can just leave things on cliffhangers and be like, Lamau, it's a let. And then readers will be like, oh, I like the universe you set up. I can always imagine there being more. But then if you like take 2 seconds thinking about more, you're like, this is not going to work out. It's going to be a nightmare. But there's so many benefits to writing short stories versus long form content. But anyways, on to the fic itself. Unless, sorry, if you wanted to add something to that.
Oh no, not really. Yeah, I think you hit it perfectly. Short stories are awesome for that reason. I just suck at them, so I don't like doing that.
All right. So we're at, yeah, so again, apologies for somewhat monotonous reading. Sun, grass, sky, clouds. The cool wind brushed against Nero's cheek. Beneath her, the grass dug into her back. The heat of the afternoon sun heated her up through her clothes like some sort of oven. It was everything she'd ever dreamed of. Nero has always been here. Nero has always been here. Nero has always been here. Nero, not her. Nero, where are you? She rolled onto her side and covered her ears. Maybe if maybe she would disappear. She didn't see her. There you are, Nero. Nero rolled back and glared at her. Annie stared back, a grin on her face. Behind her, a white fox tail flicked back and forth in a slow, wave-like motion. Nero turned back and faced away from the woman. Why did she constantly have to show up like this? Couldn't she see that Nero wasn't feeling well? Nero, honey. Annie's voice seemed to ring in Nero's ears. What's wrong? Nero bit the bottom of her lip. Another migraine smashed into her head like a hammer, and she winced. Nothing, she muttered. That doesn't look like nothing. The grass shuffled. Behind her, Nero could hear Annie sitting down. Her hand ran through Nero's hair. She sighed and turned to face Annie. I'm just not feeling well, Nero said. Why not? There was a pause. I'm not sure. Maybe we could take you to see the doctor? Annie held her hand to Nero's forehead. You're burning up. That's not how it works, Mom. I'm not human, remember? Annie did a slow blink. You're not human? That's news to me. Nero froze. Why had she said that? Of course she was human. Nero had always been here, after all. Right, sorry, Nero murmured. It's just that, I don't know, things have felt weird recently. How so? Sometimes I get these dreams. Nero pursed herself up into a seated position. In them, I'm alone and cold, and there's this voice. So I'll pick a pause here before I do just read the entirety of the fic by itself. So I'm going to quickly note here, and this is one of my preferred writing styles, is it's somewhat I don't want, not choppy is not the right word. Choppy is like the negative way of calling it. I call it I don't know, in a more positive way. It's quick, it's snappy, and it's sort of, I would say, easy to pace. I find it's difficult to, if you're going for, like, this is my experience, so feel free to correct me, Liam. If you have smaller paragraphs, it's a lot harder to overuse smaller paragraphs than it is larger paragraphs. I'm not sure if you vibe with that too.
I think no, I would probably agree with that. Most intermediate writers I've seen tend to naturally fall into a shorter, a more evenly paced, staggered style. I will say the optimal in terms of like what the literary critics will freak out about and what will like naturally have you going like, oh my gosh, it's a masterpiece, is probably a balance, but leaning more towards these larger, chunkier paragraphs if you can make them smooth enough. That's the key. If the paragraph is smooth, then it feels like you're gliding through it, and it's a very effective experience. Super Supportive does this. I'm not sure if you've read Super Supportive. Let me see if I can.
Actually, I have, yeah. But that would actually let me down a rabbit hole through similar fictions, actually.
Yeah, right. So like.
But yeah, no, I'm in full agreement. And Vin comments, shorter paragraphs make it easier to process information. That too. it's easier almost for the reader to pace themselves. There's no sort of like, if as an example, as a rule of thumb, if I see a paragraph with more than 3 lines, that fourth line is gotta be worth it. Because it's easy to pick where you are in that paragraph, but when you hit 4, 5, 6 lines, now your eyes can really, sometimes you jumping to the next line can get lost, and that's just an absolute nightmare.
That's yes, yes, and part of it too is the nature of the genre. I feel like for non-serialized fictions, it's a lot easier to get away with chunkier paragraphs, but serialized readers are want to get their dopamine shots extremely fast. Fan fiction readers want to get their dopamine really fast. If you're really really good, you can get away with it, like super supportive or one of my personal favorites. I pulled it up here actually. We are each our own devil, which is I am like 95% sure was written by the author of Super Supportive. But that's just my conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I don't know. It's you mentioned about amateur authors. Yeah, I think it's harder to pull off longer paragraphs. You kind of have to keep them cohesive and flowing, versus line by line. It's a lot easier to do that. Well. So this is something I think you do very well, and you can tell this is something that you kind of do automatically if you're saying you only spent kind of 2 hours on it. It's the peppering of details. You talk about the cool wind brush. So if you want to scroll back up to the top, if we're looking at that, there's the cool wind brushed against Nero's cheek. Beneath her, the grass dug into her back. The heat of the afternoon sun heated her up through her clothes like some sort of oven. It's that we've got an idea where we are, but it's a very light amount. We're not describing anything beyond that. It's just kind of immediately what's with Nero, and you introduce that very seamlessly as part of it throughout the story. I think that's often something I can struggle with, where when you're writing, you as the author, you've got your idea of what the scene looks like. So you just put a big blob at the start of the scene of here's the scene that I can picture in my mind, and a more experienced author will breadcrumb that in an intuitive way, and you can even get to really intuitive way where the experiencing of those actually is a positive to the viewer. You're not just conveying information, but you're conveying it in a very interesting way. And again, you do that by Nero's POV here, so you have that kind of intuitively at the very start, that little bit of intro, and then you hear, oh, Annie comes forward, she ruffles her hair, and then she gets into the dreams and so forth like that. So, anyways, pointing out that this is a part of it that I think you did well.
One thing. So the way I learned that was I was taking a writing class, and this writer described it as like the general is painted by the specifics. Is kind of how he put it. Like, you could describe a city, right? Let's say it's some cyberpunk city, right? It has a bunch of cool lights. It's like Cyberpunk 2077. You've got trains running everywhere. You've got et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what he noted is that trying to dump all that onto the reader is kind of like horrible. And not even really that good, even if it like you try to keep the exposition to a minimum. So what he described was like honing in on like one or two small details that like are extremely distinct about the scene, and then letting the reader fill in the rest of the gaps is a technique that he described. So that's one that I've very much taken to heart in my personal writing style.
Yeah, I think you mentioned style there, which I think is an important part. The way I always envision a lot of these kinds of things is it's sort of like a scale where you can go above it and it's almost objectively wrong, and you can go below it and it's almost subjectively wrong. And so when you're describing how much details about the scene, there is a minimum and a maximum, and everything that falls in between kind of falls into style. And you can make sweeping statements like, oh, for fan fiction, for lighter styles of writing, oftentimes smaller amounts of characterization, details, and setting is important. That's just what the audiences will prefer. Versus if you're writing epic published fiction, audiences are going to want those excessive, almost unnecessary details that push that upper range. But a lot of that, again, falls down to author voice and style.
Yep, very true. As long as it achieves the intended emotional effect, that's really what's most important. And any of the things that I discuss or bring up, I do worry I sometimes come off as more authoritative than I mean to. All I want to do is like share the tidbits that I've learned and that I've found helpful. And if like people don't find that helpful because it conflicts with their personal style, or they've tried it and it doesn't work, I mean, like, that is totally okay. 100%.
Yeah, and that's we spoke about this before off stream, but it's all rules can be broken for effect.
Yep.
Just if you're breaking them for no reason, don't be surprised if things don't land quite well.
Yep. There are no rules, but there are rules of thumb. And if you're going to break the rules of thumb, then you should probably know why they were created in the first place.
I got a couple of new chatters in the chat. Looks like Carlo and Noel. I think both maybe just found through Twitch, either looking through the writing and reading category or recommendations. Carlo asked if I like tacos. Kind of. I'm a big soft shell taco fan. Hard shells are kind of messy. But Noel actually says, I like fanfics, but I usually read originals, mostly because the brain won't shut up. I started writing originals, never publishing. I've got like about a dozen unpublished original fictions. I ended up transitioning to writing fanfiction. One, there's a much broader audience to it, and two, you can kind of skip a lot of the legwork because with an established universe, most people have an idea of what a lot of the characters and setting are, and so you get to skip essentially a lot of the setup that oftentimes it can be difficult for newer authors to do, and just jump right into the cool plot points you're looking to get to.
Very true.
I highly recommend fan fictions for as an introduction to writing for authors.
And you get and the advantage of fan fiction too is you get people who are like already actively engaged in wanting to read and critique and feedback your work, which is huge. I mean, for a developing writer, that is massive. Like, when I was writing original fiction, I would have had to pay people to give me feedback. Like, but with fan fiction, like, people will jump in and they will give you their thoughts. It's awesome. But originals are awesome. I want to say hi to. I should probably. So hello Carlos, hello Noel. I like tacos. I'm a Texan. I'm a Tex-Mex guy. I have a chimichanga, like, and it's a ritual for me. So Dice Cat introduced himself. I guess I should. My name is Liam. I started out with fan fiction. I wrote bad fan fiction, and now I write bad original fiction. But bizarrely enough, I got published for them and paid, and I write those now. So if you want to see, if you're into that, if you're into a quote-unquote professional streaming, like, I got you with my 50 ratings.
You okay there? Did you?
No, I'm dying. I died a long time ago. I told you. Remember, I look incredibly good despite the fact that I died about 500 years ago because of my excellent skincare routine.
Ah, that's important. All right, I wanna jumping back into so we're at. Oh yeah. I'll start off from the sentence before. Sometimes I get these dreams. Neuro, push yourself up into a seated position. In them, I'm alone and cold, and there's this voice. Actually, I know we said that there's one more thing I wanted to mention. I think some people, as well as a general criticism, not criticism, but something you can do, dialogue can be grammatically incorrect. And in fact, I'd argue a lot of the time, feel free to make it grammatically incorrect, so long as the rules aren't so glaringly broken. I mean, in them, I'm alone and cold, and there's this voice, is grammatically incorrect in the usage of commas, but it works here, and it's needed. So, just something I noticed there.
Nice.
Um,
I don't want, it feels weird to expand upon it because like because I'm the author. Um, but but yeah,
go
you
off,
know,
King.
huh?
I said go off, King.
Thanks. I'll try to keep it brief, which is that like dialogue in particular is one where you can be really loose as long as it isn't loose to the point of obnoxiousness. Like if you're doing accents and like every other word is slang, you're gonna tick people off, and people are gonna be like, I can't even understand what they're saying. But like breaking the quote unquote rules in order to give like a more speech like pattern can be extremely effective and a very cool technique. And yeah.
Yeah, and in fact needed. Otherwise, dialogue can seem stilted, and inorganic, in a couple of ways.
Yes,
Um,
true.
right. Annie tilted her head. What does that voice tell me? It's the same thing over and over, Neuro said. 10 seconds to system shutdown. I'm sure it's nothing, dear. Annie ran her hands through Neuro's hair. It's just a bad dream. Maybe because Philly and Camilla left? The migraine slowly cleared away. Neuro shook her head. You're right, she said. They left, and I'm having a bad reaction. Neuro couldn't blame them. Camilla was on tour with her clown show. Phalian had started doing stand-up comedy. They were chasing their dreams. But Neuro had been left behind. She still remembered the time when they'd all made a huge mess in the town center. Fireworks had gone off. It had been a mess. But now they were gone, and this was the result, a bad dream. See, I like that as a setting. This is something I never do scene breaks. Actually, I very rarely do scene breaks. But the scene break here, just that a bad dream. You could almost actually have this first paragraph as the prologue, and then what comes after kind of is the remainder of the chapter. But yeah, I think you set up like a really great emotional beats. You start setting up some of the idea that things are wrong. 10 seconds until system shutdown. It helps set up, and this is something I think some authors don't do very well, is if you have a twist or you have something, readers are stupid. They will not pick up on it. You must make it obvious as early as possible that there's a twist coming, unless you want it to not be coming. The point is, not some twists are supposed to be the, oh, I scroll back up and then I see it, versus the, oh, I saw this coming. Most of the time it should be the I saw this coming in some capacity. And so the 10 seconds to shut down is a very key thing to have mentioned as early as possible, because it sets the, oh, I'm, as the reader, I'm now looking and cluing into hints as to the quote unquote twist or background.
That is the result of a very hard lesson that I had to learn as a serialized writer, which is that like people, especially serialized readers, like they're reading through these really fast oftentimes, and the level of engagement, especially at the start when they're trying to decide, do I really want to commit to this fic, is not going to be super high. So you need to hook them, and you need to hook them hard, and it needs to be in a way that's extremely explicit and obvious, even if it kind of gives the game away. Because like instinctively, I didn't really want to do that. I don't really like, being that explicit about it. I want it to be subtle, right? But I have enough experience at this point to recognize that if I don't hammer it fast, like and if I don't have something else to carry the reader forward, which I didn't have at the time, then I needed to immediately reveal, like, foreshadow what the big twist was, and draw the reader in and get them wondering, hey, what is the system shutdown? Let me read along so that I can find out.
Mm-hmm. And again, this is Vin brings up, does PFR, presumably making him say, does PFR need to have this? Does it do a good job? I think in Vin, for yours example, yours are very bite-sized, almost snippets or snippets as they're called, where you can have that all kind of self-contained within a small chapter. I think what we're often talking about is if you have a somewhat longer yet still small work, or even a longer work where you have to set things up more and have the larger payoff at the end for it. So in this case, for the writing contest, I think it's the kind of one where you can't make things very subtle at all. He's continued, does PFR word count less than 1,000 early chapter have a good hook? I'd say so. I mean, in general, I don't think your story requires a good hook. And I think your story is one of, if not probably, yeah, one of the most unique ones in the entire fandom, where there's not really any sort of snippet style fix we have in the Neuroverse fandom. They're almost all short stories or long-term stories and none episodic. So in general, I think your writing
category.
does.
It's a different category.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. I'll continue. As soon as they arrived back home, Annie went straight to the kitchen and started grilling pancakes. Okay, for the record, I mentioned this in the thread. Grilling pancakes, I had to pause there for a second because I've only heard of someone grilling something like in the backyard or like on a barbecue. Would you consider putting pancakes in a like I don't know. I've only had them made in like pans, stainless steel pans or nonstick pans. What is this grilling pancakes? Is this a Texas thing?
Yeah, you didn't know? We will what we do is we pour the batter directly onto like the circular grill thing, and then it falls into the fire, right? And like the dough feeds the flames, you know? And and after that we start going in a circle around it, and we start like munching on tacos. In the background, you've got to have the country music going, right? This is like a part of very important tradition to us Texans. I'm sure you Canadians have your thing as well.
Grilling pancakes is just waffles. I don't get it. Okay. Anyways, let's. As soon as they arrived back home, Annie went straight to the kitchen and started grilling pancakes. The smell of burning butter filled Neuro's nostrils. She looked in a circle and stared at the pink walls of her home. Annie had insisted that they be pink when they moved in, despite Neuro's protests. Neuro remembered arguing with her, going back and forth, but like always, Annie got her way. She'd even managed to put up this ridiculous painting of dogs playing poker in the living room. Neuro pulled up a chair and kicked her legs back and forth while seated. In many ways, her life was ideal. One thing I want to cut to there, you have relatively abstract paragraph, as in it's describing, I mean, there's the smell at the beginning, but for the most of that paragraph is describing a bit of conflict between Neuro and Annie and the argument they had. And technically, if you jump ahead to in many ways, that's another inaction paragraph. But Liam's nicely inserted this. Neuro pulled up a chair and kicked her legs back up and forth while seated as a sort of transitionary one to break the pace between a longer paragraph into another, not longer, but descriptive paragraph. And as well, it keeps the action scene moving. You could technically rearrange these and have Neuro arrives back home, Annie goes to the kitchen, she smells burning butter, and then she pulls up a chair. And then you have that big blob of descriptions, could all be one large paragraph. And it would just be worse paced. So it's an example of the order here just used effectively versus in other ways it could not. And this is where Liam goes, "Yep."
Yeah. I did that on purpose. You know,
I mean, some of it's
my brilliant writerly intellect.
I mean, you do see that in the way it could be worse. Like it could look, in the way I described it. I don't know.
Oh, no, I agree.
There's also some part of.
I agree. No, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's just one of those things that I feel like I'd be tooting my own horn if I went on about it now.
Nah, you can toot your horn a little bit.
No, you covered it perfectly. You did good. You got it. You got it.
In many ways, her life was ideal. She didn't have to work, and she wasn't expected to do so. She had a family, a home, food. What more could a girl ask for? Sure, sometimes it got lonely being out in the middle of nowhere, but hey, that's just how it was. Here's the first batch. Also, you're using hyphens instead of em dashes.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened. I don't know.
I only noticed that because someone else pointed out to me that I also use hyphens instead of em dashes. As a general rule of thumb, hyphens for interrupts, em dashes for like interrupts is in someone's dialogue physically gets interrupted is kind of the only time you use hyphens in text, besides obviously the connecting of two words, which is also usually used incorrectly. Moral of the story: use less hyphens, and you'll probably be good. Though I think em dashes look wrong for the record. I don't like M dash lengths. They just kind of look weird.
Strong
And also
opinions.
they make your work look like
Strong
they look like
opinions on
your
M
work was written
dashes.
by AI. So don't use M dash. Use Dice Cat's recommendation. Use commas instead.
Noel has a
here's
comment. The thing I like to
Oh.
do is give the readers clues to solve the puzzle of the story. Set up the twists, but like be cryptic, double talk, parallel Chekhov's gun, that kind of stuff. The problem is that people say things come out of nowhere. Readers kind of dumb. Yeah, this is something I had to reckon with as well. Like I would very subtly plant some clue, and then like readers would be like, "When was X foreshadowed?" And then I'm like, "Here! It was here! Did you not see it?" I kind of had to make peace with the fact that like I put it. I don't think it's that readers are dumb. I think it's that we as writers are looking at this work as a whole, and we see the care that we put into it, and we see the care we put into the clues, but readers don't see that. And like we kind of have to meet them where they're at. We really do. We have to say, I know you're not interested yet, but let me prove to you that if you're willing to stick it out with me, and if you pay attention, it'll be worth it, right? I think it's probably a good approach. That's my personal philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, in general, the way I essentially just don't leave one clue for your hints. Make it repeated. One, it lets people more chances to catch on. But two, you can make things obvious, but readers will typically feel smart, and so by making it obvious, you're just making them feel smart. It's just a good decision. Hidden twists where someone's sitting there feeling stupid is just in the natural human psyche not going to go over as well. So make things obvious. All right. Where were we? Here's the first batch. Annie strode into the dining room, a plate full of pancakes in hand. Nero felt her stomach growl as the food was placed down in front of her. She licked her lips. Thanks, Annie. She started to reach towards the plate. Correct use of hyphen. For those keeping track. Utensils. Nero pouted but grabbed the fork and knife. After a minute of eating, with Annie staring at her with a small smile, Nero paused. I was thinking of going to town, she said, later today. Of course, honey, Annie smiled. Just be back by the end of the day. Nero nodded and continued eating. She was lucky she had such a permissive parent. If she had someone else to watch out for her, they might be a bit more paranoid to let her go wherever she wanted. When Nero finished eating, she said goodbye to Annie and walked to the town. It appeared in the distance over the horizon. Cobblestone steps greeted her and clicked her feet as she entered into the main square. A man with a thick beard greeted her from his stall, the smell of fresh fruit wafting to her nose. Double greeted there. I'll give a
written in like 3 hours at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
That's my excuse.
I can't only point out positive things. That's the. Nero came to the center of the town and stopped. She wasn't exactly sure what she'd been planning. Actually, see, Nero came to the center of the town. Came is a very weak word. Arrived at the center of the town. Maybe might have been a bit better, but I'm being intentionally nitpicky in that regard. But I will say,
if I were editing it, I wouldn't even say something to the effect of Nero came to the center of the town. I would say, rather than what's a good way of describing somebody specifically walking and then stopping. I think there's a word for that.
You could just there's even just I don't know. This point is a weak sentence. You could we were going over this line by line for feedback, I would highlight this, right click, comment on the Google document and go, the sentence feels a little weak and unspecific.
Yeah. No, true. Right. Fair.
She wasn't exactly sure what she'd been planning. It wasn't like she had any close friends here anymore. Phelan and Camilla had been here before. They used to play here, but they weren't here anymore.
Yeah,
was that somewhat intentionally
no, there was no thought process there. That was 2 a.m. Liam speaking.
Nero furrowed her eyebrows. See, that's okay. Small thing. This isn't a mistake or something I'm pointing out. It's furrowing of eyebrows is, I don't know why in text I don't ever feel like I can use it appropriately. Do you furrow your brow? Do you say furrowed an eyebrow, like as in when you're putting one down and one up? Raised an eyebrow. I don't know. It's an expression that I can never seem to be comfortable using, and in here you've used it effortlessly. And I'm kind of staring at it now for, is this something I wanna? I should just use it, and then regardless of if I feel comfortable with using it, because you can only say scowl so many times before it gets
That's
repetitive.
hard. Varying the language is really rough. That's one of the things that I've struggled with, and that I've been trying to improve on.
Especially, I mean, oh, I actually have a sticky note on my desktop for essentially like variances of phrases. Um, like I have a list for so if someone like if for transitioning words, so if you have someone speaking and then you don't want to tag the dialogue, you want some motion in between because it's been too long between motion. Um, I have, waved a hand, coughed awkwardly, pointed out, a stray thought, a treacherous thought. I literally have a notepad of those to look at for inspiration. Um,
That's pretty good. I
because
should
like
try
it
that.
feels like as oh, and then there's also the big long list of don't use dialogue tags, as well. That's if I'm scrolling through it now. Yeah, I don't know. It almost kind of brings you where you talk about you can almost kind of write mechanically, even though it's a creative writing process. There are some things you can just, I don't know, spit out. And obviously with how AI works, you can just kind of do that, but there has to be some amount of creativity. But yeah, I feel you on the varying.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, man.
Um, all right, Neuro furrowed her eyebrows. Those were the only two friends she had, only them. Surely she knew more people than them. The migraine started to come back. Neuro reached up and rubbed the temples of her head. She should just go home. She hadn't thought things through. A giggle. Neuro, we're streaming. You can't say things like that. A chill went down her spine. Why did it sound so familiar? So this was actually something, and this is the one thing as part of the fic why I actually didn't give it points for quality, and it was that some of the italics, which I believe are Neuro outside, like she's in her delusional world right now, and the italics are sometimes memories, but also as if sometimes she's listening to the people in real time talk about shutting her down. Spoilers, during the story. And so I actually sometimes had a bit of trouble determining whether something was like a memory or whether something was ongoing, because at the beginning you did say 10 seconds, implying that the entirety of the fic is in this sort of slow 10 seconds before Neuro gets turned off. Whether innocently for an update or for something more menacingly is an exercise for the viewer. But yeah, that's something I wanted to point out, not necessarily writing wise, but for story wise.
No, that's
That I had a
that's
bit of trouble with.
totally that's totally valid. Um, Thinking about it, like it was all meant to just be memories. I wish there was some way to that I could have more that I could have explicitly made it more clear. Hmm.
Okay.
Maybe I could have. I could have.
That's sometimes the tricky with italics, and the real reason thing is you need a legend at the top, and then you need to use like curly braces or
Ew! No!
square
No! No! No!
brackets.
No! I hate that! I hate that! I hate that! No! No! I hate never. No! 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 That is like if readers have to rely on a legend in order to understand what's happening, I honestly, this is like an extreme take, but I would say that is a flaw, that is a failure of the story.
Oh, well, okay. Actually, I disagree with that. I think you are, what's the word? Um, if you put a legend at the beginning of the story, you are conceding your skill as an author is not adequate enough to represent your thoughts and your ideas.
Okay, that's
Um,
probably a better way of
because
putting it. Yeah.
my point is, if someone, and especially when it comes to the fan fiction space, where you just want to write and you have the best idea, you can have a very successful and enjoyable story despite having a legend. But I do think it is a big handicap towards the best writing, in a lot of ways.
If I were to do it again, I think what I would have done is add something like a time code, something like T minus 16 or something, T minus 32D, 32 days ago or something, 16 days ago, and then like it's clear that it's getting closer and closer to the present. Oh, that would have been so good. I should have done that. Ah!
Hindsight's 2020. I see Vin said readers sometimes only focus on the text on the screen or only on one chapter they're reading. Very true. For the record, you can't trust that readers are going to read your entire fiction or story in one sitting. In fact, you should probably not assume that. You should expect them to have some amount of memory between chapters. But yeah, it is something to keep in mind when writing that chapters kind of have to be self-containing on some level. But you mentioned, because I made a subtle change in PFR, about how Vedal comes to terms that Nero and Eve are now as kids in the span of multiple chapters, but readers only realized it when I pointed out on the Discord server. Yeah, again, especially yours being chapter by chapter, where sometimes it can be a couple of days, actually, well, usually one day at most between chapters. That, yeah, you have to be a bit more obvious sometimes. I don't know. Liam, as a someone who, when you publish, when you go from the chapter by chapter sphere into publishing a full book, and it sort of changes the medium, I'm curious if you have to make some larger edits just from the medium change, or if it's primarily essentially just a touching up process.
Not there are changes. It's not as big as you might expect. The length that we usually aim for, 100,000, is consumable by our audience in a single day. And that's how most Amazon readers will do it. They'll just chew through an entire book or even a series in a single day. So the main thing that usually has to be done is just polishing up the transitions between chapters to make sure that they're as smooth as possible, but it's not as big of a change as you might think, because like the core mechanic that web serials rely on is like, I need you to click the next chapter, right? That is why every single chapter of every single web serial will end in a cliffhanger, because the core mechanic is, I need you to click the next chapter, so I'm going to hide some crucial decision or something to that effect before, and you have to click the next chapter to find out what happens. So like that works perfectly fine transitioning over to an Amazon release to a certain extent, because if you try to do like a 200 or 300k book using that attention mechanism, people will not finish your book, right? Because they will get worn out and they'll put it down. So like you usually want to aim for like the 100k space. Interestingly enough, this is why trying to turn a published book into web serial doesn't usually work, because reader expectations for like a Brandon Sanderson novel, if you tried to put Way of Kings on Royal Road, or even disregarding the audience disconnect, it would still fail, simply because Brandon Sanderson wrote that for an audience that enjoys reading the story in 10k 20k chunks, whereas web serials are more built for either marathon reading or 2k per day.
Now, in fairness, I do think Sanderson's work would do well in Royal Road simply because of how high quality it is and how good he is as an author. But that's mostly, I think it would not do nearly as well as his other success by like magnitudes of exponential scale. But anyways, that's a minor.
I could see that. I could see that. Maybe like 1 to 1.5k followers, but it would not hit like superstar fandom, 30,000 Beware of Chicken, super supportive, etc.
Because there are some times where I'm like, man, this story is just like excessively high quality, but it's not really what I want. All right. Anyways, we gotta power through this, because I realize I'm perhaps going through this too slowly.
I actually have to go in like 3 minutes.
Oh. Okay. No, I was about to say, actually, if anything, we can do this, because I think it might be worthwhile, because I'm learning a lot from this, and I think some people might not realize when you're looking kind of at when you're kind of nitpicking some work, especially with the author actually there, you being here, some of the things. So yeah, I'd be willing to do this again, but yeah, I was gonna say it might be worth continuing.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and oh, we have one more. I want to respond to Noel. Noel says, yeah, unfortunately, it happened in one of my works. Ah, yes, the twist. I mean, obviously, he was a time traveler. Yep, I put a lot of effort on Sabrina's timeline hopping. Wait, the time traveler was her? How? That was never set up. Doesn't make sense.
Classic.
I feel that. I really do. It's like, yeah, and like I said, it's a hard response because like you don't want to give up the artistic integrity of your work. You don't want to seemingly demean your work or condescend to like a lower standard of quality. But at the same time, like like as an author, obviously you want your stuff to be read and you want people to understand what you were thinking, right? So like that's sort of that's really the dilemma that all authors face. Like I know authors who are like the best I've ever seen, like in terms of writing skill and their ability to communicate, and it's like staggeringly impressive. And like I find myself unbelievably jealous. And like I have like this sounds and then I look at somebody who is like significantly worse and they're doing way more popular, right? Because like the person who is a worse author is is more willing to compromise with their reader, or maybe they simply have more in common with their reader than the highfalutin high artist type who I so admire. And this is a very weird tension in authorship, right? Like or in art in general, like you have this original vision, and so to what extent are you supposed to compromise? Can you compromise? Should you compromise? And that's kind of a question we all have to ask for ourselves. For me, I was very comfortable. Well, I didn't really have to do very much compromising. I do very little because I am an absolute degenerate. And most of what I write is stuff that I would personally like to read. I like reading campy pulp fiction stuff, and I don't mind leaning into the tropes. But I also recognize that there are authors who have like an idea for a story in their head, and it's that idea, and it's really that idea that they want to do, and they don't want any compromise whatsoever. And that's something that you have to decide for yourself. What kind of author do you want to be?
Yeah, that's what it's honestly it's writing is art in that way where there's so many different ways you can really go about it, and none of them strictly wrong really
Yeah, that's
for the most part.
for the most part.
Yeah,
There are a few
you
ways.
gotta add that.
All right, with that mini rant done, I think it's about time that we finish up.
All
So,
right, Juan, thanks for having me on. I'm always happy to hop into VC if you'd rather not communicate via 5 to 10 second delay Twitch messages. But to each their own.
all right. Um, okay, well then, thank you all for coming. Thanks DiceCat for co-hosting with me for this last hour. I appreciate it. I'll see you all again on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And goodbye.